Good morning, friends. I'm pretty much just out of bed, but I had a thought I wanted to share. Um, for context, for the last about year, year or so, I have been retraining to be a plumber. And I'll be frank, it's because there's not enough hours and there's not enough money in the bike industry, which is partly why I'm making this channel. Not because I want to make lots of money off it, but because I became a bike mechanic because I couldn't afford to get my bike fixed in certain places. And the corporate culture surrounding a lot of those things is something that kind of does my head in, to be honest, does my tits in. It annoys me. Um, I want to just be able to help people fix their bikes. I understand that business is at the back of that, but at the end of the day, for me, it's never been about that. It's always been about helping people to get back on the road and get back to enjoying their bike and doing the thing that they love to do with it. So how the fuck does this relate to the fact that I've been retraining to be a plumber? Well, yesterday I did my first proper job, my first non-training job for a customer, and it was a on the surface simple simple fix of a hidden cistern. Hidden cistern is not a simple fix. Hidden cistern, after having talked to quite a few plumbers about this, is a bit of a shitmare regardless of how you approach it. It was a bit of a big job to bite off for my first one. But anyway, that point aside, I had a bit of a moment of having done enough things in my life now, and having gone from the point of beginnerness to experienced in quite a few things, bikes mainly. It was kind of funny to me to kind of almost be able to mentally step back and observe myself doing this first complicated job and be like, oh my god, fucking hell, this is really difficult. Like there's a lot of bits to it. But just recognizing that that's just part of the process. Pardon me. And it reminded me of the very first time I took a gear cable out of a shifter as something I could probably do blindfolded now. Humble brag, but I probably could genuinely. And the first time I did it, I think it took me like over a day because I had to YouTube it, and I was like, I don't know how to do this. It took me a while. It took me a long time. The first bike I ever took apart. The first bike I ever bought myself. Was an old Genesis Croix de Fer, and it took me about a day to disassemble it and about 6 months to put it back together again. But after those 6 months, I had learned quite a lot. My point here is that if you are just starting to watch this channel, or you've just been starting to watch videos about how to fix bikes, it's very easy to look at this and be like, my god, that's a lot of information. There's a lot of skills. You have gears, you have drivetrains, you have wheels, you have building wheels, you have tires, you have headsets, you have different forms of headsets, you have suspension, you have tubeless, you have tubulars, pretty old, not many people use those anymore. You have carbon, aluminium, titanium, bamboo. There's so many different variations and compatibilities with different things that it's very easy, especially in the beginning, to get overwhelmed and be like, I don't know if I can take all this information. And the truth is, you don't have to take in all this information. You don't have to know everything. You're never going to know everything. But if you start with what you have, with your bike, with what you actually need to know, you can expand from there, and you can go from there. That's exactly what I did. I didn't know how to take apart every shifter that I've ever seen. I've watched a great deal of YouTube in my career as a bike mechanic, and it all helps, but it takes time. It takes a while to get good at this, and I guess this is just a little video to remind you to not get too worried about the fact that you're a beginner. Like it's cool, it's awesome, it's totally okay to be a beginner, because when you're a beginner, everything's new, everything's fresh, and you're getting to learn something new again. It's like almost like being a kid again, because you get to, I mean, I realize I'm still very young, but I have got to the point in my adult life where you see and you do certain things, and novelties of certain things is worn off, and certain things seem very similar, very same, very almost normal. And you have to you have to hunt for novelty. You have to find things that keep you interested. And for me, well, bikes constantly do that because they're always fucking changing. Manufacturers love a good update, even if the update is not always an improvement. They love a good update. So yeah, that's my 5.5, 6 minutes for today. Just take your time, be patient with yourself. Even if this isn't even to do with bikes or with plumbing, this is just generally, if you're starting out something new this week, this month, this year, and you're kind of just getting into it, be patient with yourself. These things take time. I have been fixing bikes in some way since I was about 12, tinkering, and then more seriously for a couple of years. But it takes a long time. So just be patient. That's all.